Okay, everybody, it's Thursday night, so that means it's time for our coffee chat again. I can't believe how fast this week has gone by. I'm Caity Mets, for those of you who don't know me, and we like to, kind of introduce ourselves. Catherine and I started these calls a few months ago already. Can't believe how fast that went by. And I am a double diamond from New Jersey. I've been with It Works for 2.5 years. Got started pretty much for the fact that I was intrigued about the product. I had a lot of health issues. I had gained a lot of weight and was, trying to lose my belly, and it really wasn't going away. So I met that crazy wrap thing through my mom. She called me up and shared the possibility of it, and to be honest with you, I wasn't too sure of what I thought. But, I kind of just took a chance on it. I knew my mom wouldn't steer me wrong, and I got the product on me. I got amazing results overnight. I didn't get results in 45 minutes, but I did get great results overnight. And my life has changed since then drastically. At the time, I was working full-time, and I was going to school full-time, and I really didn't know how I was going to work a business, but I did want to earn some free products. So I got started, got my free product pretty quickly, and realized that this is something really, really huge, and here I am today. Full-time, It Works. This is all I do, and I'm loving every minute of it, and I love all these calls that we get to do with each other and getting to learn from one another, and it's been awesome. So I'm going to introduce Catherine MacDonald. She's just awesome. I love her. I love listening to her story every week. So why don't you go ahead and just tell everyone, a little synopsis of your story.
Sure. Caity, I love our stories because they're very similar in that neither one of us were drawn to this company because of the wrap, even though that is our flagship product, and we both love it now, and we've both gotten great results with it. But I was introduced to It Works through watching my friend Caity Mets on Facebook. We had gone to high school together and had reconnected on Facebook about 5 years ago, and I would see posts pop up, and it's interesting to me how Facebook filters that out. So you don't see it all the time sometimes, and that's a reminder to us as distributors. People aren't always seeing everything we post. But anyways, just after a couple of years, I started to see a little bit more, and really I never saw anything on the wrap. There wasn't anything about the wrap that drew my attention, but our greens did. And I saw Caity posting about the greens, and at the time I was struggling with some health things and trying to bounce back from some surgeries and procedures, and I was just really struggling and knew I needed some energy. I knew I needed to do something to boost my immune system, and so the greens just screamed to me. And so Caity and Nathan met with my husband and I, and we sat and we talked about It Works and the greens and the other products, and just what was drawing us to it. And it wasn't the business. We really had no interest in doing the business right when we planned to have lunch with them. It was just to get on the greens and learn more about what they would do. But at the end of the whole conversation, my husband knew that the products were going to be really good for my health and the issues I was dealing with, and felt like there was a lot we could share with other people to help them also. So here we are today. It's been 2 years. It was 2 years in September, and we're diamonds with It Works and working really hard towards double diamond and hopefully a good bonus.
Awesome. Love
Yay!
it. I just, every time I listen to your story, I love, too, that you never know what it is that's going to draw somebody's attention. It's always something different for everyone. So I think, if we have anyone that's listening tonight that's a distributor already with the company, you never know what's going to strike a chord with someone. So,
no, it's so true. And, even though and I didn't say this, and I don't, it's kind of, we tell different parts of our story every week, but I saw Caity posting about the greens, and it intrigued me. It intrigued me enough that I started watching videos and checking into it. But there were other things that she was posting that drew my attention even more, things that we had in common that, we hadn't seen each other in several years since high school, but there were things we still had in common, and those things were coming out in her posts. And it was like, we started communicating and connecting because God was bringing our lives back together. And so even those new distributors out there, don't just post on It Works stuff. Yes, we want to share that because we have fantastic products, but share your life because people are going to know what's going on with your life.
It's so true. And another thing, too, is if you're listening, and this ties into our guests as well, timing is not always the same for people. For me, I joined maybe a few days after my mom did. She wasn't even in a week yet, I think. Maybe she was in maybe a week. I don't know. But I jumped in pretty much right away, whereas you were kind of observing for a little while. So, you know, you never know when it's just going to be you're in the right place at the right time with the right person, and that's pretty much how it goes. So, exactly. With that being said, I absolutely love our guest to pieces. I am going to just brag on her for a minute. Her and I did not know each other before It Works. I do feel in my heart that she was brought to me by the grace of God. There's no other way that could possibly explain how we met because it was so random. And it's just a really good story about what this does for you other than your finances. So, Desiree, if you're on, I want you to just kind of introduce yourself, talk about kind of your first impression, how you met me and everything, and then leading up to, like, how long it took you to get involved.
Okay, so I found you on Facebook. I don't really remember how. It was, like, really random. And I tried to wrap in August. I believe it was right before my birthday. And it didn't work because I didn't drink my water. And I'll admit that. And I was like, oh, man, what is this? Like, I can't believe I did this. And then I kind of just kept watching you. And, you know, I worked with Caity's fiance at the time. And I kept watching her and watching her posts. And one day in March, I just decided that I was going to do it. I was going to go for it. I was going to try to get involved in the business. And I did. I messaged her on Facebook, and I said, hey, I'm ready to sign up. How do I do it? I was sitting at my desk at work, and I did it right there. My manager was sitting right next to me. So
what was it for you that made you decide? Because it was like a year later, right? It was.
Yeah, it was like more than 6 months.
And like there were a lot of times too where I would follow up and I didn't even hear from you.
Yeah, no, I was hiding. I was like, I don't know what to say. But consistency.
Oh, we've got a hider.
Not anymore.
I love it.
Yeah, so consistency definitely pays off. I think that's a lesson to be learned. And I basically, like, there was somebody that I had known, you know, from my town, from my high school, and it was just something crazy that happened to him and his family, and it kind of just showed me that, like, you have to kind of just put things in God's hands because there's a plan for you bigger than you have for yourself. And I just felt like the consistency and, you know, watching her post that this was just where I had to be at the time. And so I went for it, and I'm very glad I did.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Desiree, why don't you talk a little bit about your journey thus far? You've been with me for a while now. You're one of my original people. Why don't you talk a little bit about kind of what life was like then versus kind of your journey now?
Okay. So I started with you in March, so it was a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half. And at the time, I was working full-time. I was in a bad relationship, just mentally abusive and sometimes physically abusive, and it was just really bad. I was in a bad place. And, you know, I got involved. I started kind of getting to know everybody a little bit, but I still wasn't really all in. And then I ended up quitting my job. I wanted to do this full-time, but I still wasn't there. Like, my head wasn't in it. My heart was in it, but my head wasn't. And then I actually ended up getting rid of my relationship, which kind of broke me. I lost who I was somewhere in there, and I really didn't know what to do, and I ended up on antidepressants, on anxiety medication. I was going to school at the time. I started failing my classes, and this was in September of last year. So everything just got really bad really quickly for me. And I finally started to pick back up in December, and I got most of my classes done except for one. And the day I went to submit my work for my last class, my grandmother had a stroke. So that kind of brought me back down. My aunt and myself are the only two people who really provide for my grandmother now, so I'm there every day, taking care of her, and it was really hard. So I didn't go to school. I never finished my last class. I didn't get my degree because of it. And then Caity, of course, she just never gave up on me, and a lot of people on our team, that Karen, just a whole bunch of people who just never gave up and would always tell me, like, they were praying for me and they would just make sure I was okay. And it was never any pressure to be in the business or to be working or anything like that, but it was more just a personal connection, like, how are you? How's everything? And I started to realize that, I have this support and I have this love from these people, and that's what I needed. And I started to work on myself. I started to do a lot of self-development, and I started to read books and watch videos and just pray, and I read the Bible and things that I've never done before. And now I'm finishing my last class for school, so I'll have my degree, and in January, hopefully, God willing, I'll be starting a master's degree program.
Good for you.
Thank you. And I just got a new car. I just got an apartment. So everything kind of looked up. It was a lot of work. Sorry, my sister's in here. She's all excited. She's like, "You got the apartment?" So, so, everything's looking up, and it took a lot of hard work, but I never, ever would have been able to do it without the support and the love and just the prayers from everybody in this company. And it builds your faith up to a point where it's just like, I went through so many emotions, and I like I said, I read, I watched videos, and I cried a lot, but I prayed even more. And that was really what did it for me. It was just all the faith that this company brought into my heart, and I really couldn't be happier now.
I love you.
I love you too.
Catherine, I've been hogging and asking her questions. What do you have to ask or add?
Well, I just love that you really have talked about the full circle of what It Works is, because It Works isn't just about health and wellness, and It Works isn't just about helping people make a little extra money or make life-changing money, or It Works isn't just about hanging out with your girlfriends. It Works is a full circle life-changing company, and I love that your story shows that this is a company that is established on faith. Our CEO and his wife are very strong in their faith, and they pray over this company, and they really just want to encourage a life change in every area, not just just not the areas of wellness and financial freedom, but the spiritual health of who we are also. And I just appreciate that you shared that part of your story.
I'm glad that I have a story to tell. I just hope that somebody can connect with it and really know that it's for real. It's not something that's made up, and it really can change your life.
Yes. Now, as you were talking about all these different things that you've had going on in your life, and you now help take care of your grandma. You're going to school, and all those things. How do you work your business? Where do you find time? How do you fit it in? What does that look like for you?
There's a lot of nights I don't really sleep. I will be honest, because I actually work full time as well. So, I'm lucky enough to have 3 days off a week, even working full time. So I use my Wednesdays and my weekends off to really focus on my business. I do a lot of blitzing on those days, and then the other days I try to schedule posts on Facebook, so that way I don't really have to worry about being able to sit down and do it. I'm a nanny, so I'm a nanny to 4 kids.
Okay.
And, sometimes it's just I have zero time to stop. But I'll schedule my posts. Whenever I take them out or I go shopping for the family I work for, anything like that, I just hand out blitz cards. Pretty much any chance I get, I do it. And at night, when I want to go to sleep, I'll schedule my posts, because I know that I just have to do it. You get to a point where you realize that it is work, but it's so worth it in the end. So basically, really any free time I have, and I network a lot through my friends, which is another thing. I'm lucky enough to have a lot of supportive friends. So, even tonight I have a friend here, and he's just one of the most supportive people, and he'll go out and he'll tell people about my business. Or, and it really helps to have that support.
I love that. I love that this call is amazing because you're speaking to so many different people at so many different levels right now, and I don't even know if you're realizing it. Like, you just spoke to the person who has a full-time job and is limited in their time and their hours because of that. And you're talking to the busy stay-home mom because you are a nanny and you're taking care of 4 kids. So you're speaking to such a diverse group of people on how you can find a way to work this business. And I remember when Mark and Cindy Pentecost were talking at my very first conference, we had a small party, and they were talking about how their first business they ever got involved in, they chose to find one night a week. That was it. One night a week for a couple hours that they were going to focus on their business, and that it changed their whole life. And there's so many people who have excuses that they're not sure they're going to find time in their week. We all have one evening a week where we just choose not to turn on our television or spend so much time searching Facebook or whatever, and you've spoken to that. And I think that's just a huge encouragement that anybody can find time to do this business.
I think it's definitely you definitely do watch a lot less TV, but it's worth it. It is.
You know what it is too, Desiree, is you're making a legacy play, and I just went to a leadership conference this past summer, and I'm going back and I'm re-listening to some of the things I learned there. I have the recording, and one of the things that he talked about, Bill Hybels was the guy who organized it, and he talked about how people just play too small, and they put these constraints around themselves of what they can achieve. And I think, me and you were kind of talking yesterday when we got together, and we were talking about seeing the light. And all of a sudden you just see the light, and you're like, oh, I could dream so much bigger, and this company is actually the vehicle to get there. And the support is something that people take for granted because I think, it's just so normal for us to be kind of around that kind of culture that you kind of think that maybe you could find it someplace else, but it's so abnormal what we have here, and that's what it's so much more than a product or a compensation plan. And really what we're doing is setting ourselves up for the rest of our lives. And, the company, their whole family is rooted very deep in this company. The CEO's family, our chief networking officer, our chief sales officer, their whole family is rooted in this company. So we're not going anywhere. And, what you're describing, Desiree, is just a perfect example that literally anybody can do this, just like Catherine said, with like 6 family members and kids and running around. And I know for a while you had a car that didn't even go in reverse, and you were still going.
I was pushing out of spots. I was like Fred Flintstone.
And she just finds a way, and that's why I asked you to be on this call, because I don't even think you realize how much of an impact you can make on other people. So I guess just one last thing I want to ask you, Desiree. If you're talking to somebody, maybe taking a look at us, they're not yet involved, or maybe they got started but they haven't seen that light that me and you talked about, what would you say to that person to kind of get them to see what they have their hands on right now?
Honestly, from my experience, and it might be a little different than everybody else's, is I think it's more of, I think most of us know what we have our hands on, but we don't know what we're capable of. So I think I really, really always push personal development. That's like the biggest thing for me. And just to know that, like, you can do it. I know so many people are always like, oh, I can't sell things. I can't do this. I can't do that. And that's what holds people back, I think, the most. And more than, like that, oh, I don't have an hour a day or I don't have an hour a week. You do. You just have to build your time management. Everybody has to work on things. And when you really start to believe in yourself and understand what you're capable of as a person, and even beyond the business, like, amazing things can happen. And I think that's really where people need to go, and they just need to get really deep within themselves and believe in themselves. And I think it'll make a big difference for most people.
Yes, I think also believing in what the company has already established for us. I've heard Cammie share many times, when she got started 9 years ago, they didn't have the Blitz card. They didn't have the beautiful product flyer. They didn't have, all of that stuff that we have now. It's actually easier for us to build a business now than it was for the people who were working this business 10, 11, 12, even 8 years ago, So we just have to trust what they're putting out for us. I was just at, a friend invited me to another company home-based party, and I went to, be supportive and be there, but I bought something, and guess what I paid for? I paid for it with my It Works commission card. And I slapped that card on the table, and I had 2 people go, "Oh, what's It Works? Are you kidding me?" I just got a Blitz, pulled out product flyers and Blitz cards and handed them out at another party because I paid with my It Works commission card. And the people at the table had never heard of it. And I just love that. It Works is setting us up to be successful.
It's so true. I think, too, people overcomplicate it, and it's so simple, and our system is so proven and so simple that we miss it. And it's just, like Desiree said, it's also just believing, just having that faith that it's totally going to work. You just got to know that that you're going someplace and that this is going someplace. And it all just kind of comes together. And the first step is really just making a decision to just go for it.
Yes, I agree. And it starts with one. We talk about that. It starts with one over and over again, and it truly does. And you find one, and then you find one, and it just compounds.
Exactly. And it's just consistent persistency, really. That's it. And it's just it's awesome.
Yes.
I guess we should tell people how to get started. They're probably wondering.
Yeah, and Desiree, I'm wondering, when you got started, did you have the 99 up front, or did you pre-sell wraps to get started?
I had the 99 up front, and I boosted. It was like bill money, but I just used it. So,
you felt the conviction to just go all in.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'm doing this. But I made my money back really quickly. I want to say within the first 2 weeks I had my money back, and I had my free products. I had my 4 loyal customers and everything like that. So
that's
it was
awesome.
worth it.
Yeah, as Katie's going to talk through what it takes to get started, I think it's important to know we can be very creative in helping people get started, whether it's pre-selling wraps. Caity, I believe that's what you did, didn't you?
Yep.
And, or I've heard of people, I know for me, we had the initial $99, but I really wanted to boost. And we only had a large boost kit when I signed up. And so my husband and I started going through our house and finding everything we could put on eBay. And we sold $500 worth of stuff so that we could buy a large booster kit and have a whole bunch of wraps to get our business kicked off. There's so many ways. So as you're listening to Caity talk about how we're going to get started, we're going to help you find that best creative way for you to be successful right away.
Awesome. All right. So I'll talk a little bit through, because a lot of people do ask me how I pre-sold my wraps, so I will walk you through that as well as I go over how to get started. It's $99 to start a business with us, which is awesome, because if you were going to buy a box of wraps wholesale from us, it's $59 and it's only $40 more to start a business. So I always tell people you're going to probably want to get through a box of wraps on yourself to build your testimony anyway, so you can pick which one you want to do. For me, I knew that I wanted to sell the product as soon as I saw my friend's interest. So what I did was I actually went and I tried a wrap from my mom, who's my sponsor, the person who brought me into the business. I went over and I just shared my results with people. And once I did that, I had enough people interested that they actually started paying me before I got wraps. They were like, I want one of these. How much are they? Here's $25. So you sell those 4 wraps that come in your kit with your $99 kit for $25 or $30, and you make your money back right away. It's a no-risk investment, which I love. Now, there are 2 booster options, which Catherine kind of touched upon and Desiree touched upon, that you can choose depending on how many people you think you're going to be wrapping in your first 30 days. And this is the kind of thing that people like to try before they buy. But for me, when I started, there was actually a shortage of wraps, so I didn't get my wraps for a couple of weeks. The company had grown. This was a while ago. And right now they do come in, so you don't have to worry about that. But
they come fast. They come in like 3 days.
They come in like a couple days. I know, and I didn't get them for a few weeks, so I had to get creative. So what I did was I had people reserving their wraps. Now the second step in our steps of success is to just get a couple of customers who want to get your discount for a few months on any of our products in your first 30 days, and the company is going to go ahead and give you $120 in free products. That was my first goal. It was like, if I can get that $120 in free products, I can either get more wraps that I can sell for $200 cash right in my pocket, or I can use it to build my testimony and get on some of these great products that I really want to try. So you can choose which one you want to do. The third step is if you get a couple people that might want to make a little cash for Christmas, might want to do this part-time around other things, and they want to try the product, but maybe they just don't have extra money for it, you get 3 people that do that in your first 60 days, and you help them get their first couple customers, the company will guarantee you a minimum income of $500 in your first 60 days. And if you don't make it, they'll make up the difference. And that is solely your monthly commission check. That does not include putting the wrap on people and getting cash for it. So I love that because I know how many people on this call tonight could use $500 for Christmas. You know, how many people could use that even by the new year? Start your new year off with an extra $500 to pay your bills. You know, and all of these things are tax deductible. So if you get in before the end of the year, it's all a write-off on your taxes, which is fabulous. So, you know, this business is so awesome that if all of that wasn't good enough, there are also some really great opportunities to get out of debt. The company is debt-free, so they have a couple get-out-of-debt bonuses that are specifically designed for paying off your debt, and that's available to anyone in the entire company through the end of the year. So get back with the person who invited you. They definitely invited you to this call for a reason. Talk about some specifics of getting started and maybe what fits your budget best and your time. But this has just been, you know, one of those things that you just can't not do it. And right now is the greatest time to get yourself set up before the new year, because I know come January some of the biggest announcements of the year come out. And I just know that it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing if they're offering all this to us right now.
Yeah, so, and on top of the incentives that they're going to offer us as distributors, you're going to have people pounding on your door because when the new year starts, they've set a resolution and they are, you know, all in. So you want to be ready and available to help them reach their goals right away in 2015.
So true. And, you know, one of the things, too, is just the easiest way to get started in a business is just letting people know what you have. And if you establish that and you show people, look, I have this crazy wrap thing and here's what it does, imagine what a head start you're going to have, too, when all that happens. Yeah. And how many people would not love to not gain any weight through the holidays. I love that. So a lot of great things going on. This is the perfect time to start a business. And I guess I just want to have you ladies, we'll kind of all close out the call with a last thought that they want to leave people. So, Desiree, what do you have to add?
So, I don't know. I mean, it's really like I said, like just, you know, you have to just believe in everything you're doing and know that you can do it. It's really the biggest thing, and really work on your personal development. It's very important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Catherine, how about you?
Probably one of the biggest things that has just opened my eyes anew in the last week or so is I've been able to have conversations with 2 different individuals who are now It Works distributors, but they were people who worked at very high levels with other direct sales companies in the past. And even though they were working at a very high level, they were not getting compensated for the hard work that they were putting in. And one thing I love about It Works is we put the time and we put the work in. We're being compensated very well for it. There are not any other companies in this industry who can keep up with what It Works is willing and able to give us, because they are a debt-free company and we're established, we're 13 years in, established company, we're not going anywhere, we're debt-free. If you're looking for a place to start making money, this is the place to do it. And like we like to say, your journey's your journey. For some people, it happens very quickly. For some people, it's a little more processed, depending on what type of character God thinks he needs to be developing in us, I think. But